escape. And we are learning new information about that awful, deadly crash that killed 5 children from Derby. Now investigators here in Connecticut are digging deeper into the victim's family situation. Eyewitness News reporter Olivia Schuler joins us now live in Hartford with the details that really we've just learned over the last several hours. Good morning, Olivia.
Hey, Roger, good morning. Well, we just discovered that the State Department of Children and Families had been speaking with those kids just last month. Now, we know those 5 kids that were killed in the crash moved to Derby from New York, but there's still a lot we're unpacking with this case. The 16-year-old driver did not have a license or learner's permit. He was driving a vehicle rented by a relative. The Connecticut DCF had performed what's called a courtesy visit to the family just weeks ago. DCF says New York Child Protective Services made the request after an alleged incident in the state. DCF did interviews, reported back to New York, and was told no further involvement was necessary. Now, in terms of the deadly crash, the Westchester County Executive, George Latimer, said it's pending review on whether or not the adults involved could face charges. The Office of Child Advocate says they're looking into what caused this preventable death of young children. Once we have new information, we'll update you here or on the Channel 3 News app. We're reporting live in Hartford this morning. Olivia Schuler, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.